Hey guys, it's Kimberlee and welcome back to my channel. I make videos on all things lifestyle on a budget, but today we're going to be talking about something different. This actually just popped into my head while I was doing my jump rope workout this morning. Today we're going to be talking about, is my neighborhood safe? The type of safety that I'm talking about is not necessarily, robberies or break-ins, things like that, but specifically harassment. I feel like that's something that should be taken into account when you are moving into a new area, or just in general if you're already in an area and you're trying to determine like, what are my surroundings? Do I feel comfortable, leaving early in the morning or leaving late at night? So I figured this is pretty important. Everyday struggles that women go through majority of their lives. You could be wearing a winter jacket, a mask, goggles, a hood up, all that, and you could still end up being harassed on the streets. Men just feel like they just need to talk at you, shout at you, scream at you, follow you, touch you, grab you, anything of the sort, which is totally unacceptable. Something that I would figure out when I was a commuter was where I felt safe, and generally I actually did feel safe in Penn Station. That's where I would commute from. It would just be the surrounding areas around Penn Station or getting to that. It's funny because when I moved into the city, found my place, all of that, it was very fast, and I think that happens more often to people. Because of how the city works, we move so fast that you may not have time to do your research on an area, or you may not have time to visit an area. You pick a place and then that's it. But I actually found myself the weekend that I moved in, or within that first week, I walked around and I was like, oh, whoa, this is different. I was like, I have to plan differently because I don't just get to escape to a train into the outskirts of the city. If I run into a situation, my place is here, so where do I go to? When it comes to New York, I wouldn't say there's an ultimate safe place. I feel like in the span of the time that I've been in the city, pretty much all of my life, whether it was when I was commuting or living, I've pretty much been harassed everywhere, and I think everyone else has too. Not to just be a Debbie Downer about it, but it's literally everywhere. I live on the east side. I do feel safer. It's livelier and residential, but there's not people always hanging out on the street and they just hang out and do nothing, which is good. But I'm about to get into, I've still been harassed. So it's I feel safer, but I wouldn't say that I'm in the clear, and I wouldn't say that there's a spot in the city that is absolutely in the clear. With the schedule that I have with work, leaving super early, coming back super late, leaving all kinds of hours, coming back at all kinds of hours, I do feel better than maybe I've lived in another area. It's better to just have your eyes and ears open to just be sure. I was in the area, heading back to my place, don't even know where I was coming from or where I was going to, and there was a guy on a bike, for whatever reason, rode up next to me, was trying to talk to me, whatever. I don't know why, but having my mask on is actually even more convenient in these times because I'm you can't even see me fully or whatever. But this person was just being ridiculous on his bike and I wasn't responding, and immediately flipped to, when he realized that I wasn't going to respond, to be cursing at me and just being ridiculous, etc. And then he eventually rode away. But I was now I'm near my place, what do I do? When I got to the next avenue, I was okay, let me look around and see if he's here. But this person's on a bike, they can quickly circle around and go back in. So I just took my time getting to my place, but I was if I get into a scenario, I would walk around the block, go to a store, not a small store, but go to a store nearby, maybe go to one of those big train hubs because you can kind of get lost in there in a sense, in a good way, to get away from that person. And also they had a bike, they'd have to get off it, whatever. Another instance that did happen to me was I was coming down the street, and this is where I'm I try not to judge someone, and I saw someone coming up the street that I was I should cross the street. And then I said, no, don't cross the street. This person may be in their own world, whatever. I literally tried to not trust my instincts. I was I don't want to be that person all the time that's judging. So I was I'm not going to cross the street. Sure enough, I'm looking at my phone, just want to pass this person. And I didn't hear what they said because I believe I had my headphones in. But all of a sudden I just see their hand reach out to try to grab me. And I was are you kidding? I swerved so hard, and I was reflexes, amazing. But I was this, and I just see this hand, and I literally go that, and just kept walking down the street. And I was what are you doing? And before anyone tries to justify oh, maybe they needed to, no. There's never a reason that you need to suddenly try to grab someone's arm or whatever to try to talk to them. No, none of that. And immediately after I was you see, that's why you should have just crossed the street. You knew it, you guessed it, but then you're maybe not. And then it just ended up happening. But in that sense too, I waited till I got to the end of the avenue because I was I don't need to look back in that moment and continue this scenario going. Let me keep going as if I'm unbothered, get to the end, and then decide which way am I going to my place. After that next scenario of the person, grabbing at me, I was just ugh. it's just such a disappointment because you're just like, here we go again. And mind you, these were actually broad daylight things. The advice I have for anyone regarding like what you do in the moment is to just have a plan of action of walking around the block from your place, going to a big store. I wouldn't say a small like convenience store. I mean, if you have no other option, yes, go to a store and just kind of like hang out there or walk the aisles a little bit. But I would say like a bigger store so you can kind of get lost in, or if there's a different exit. Big train hubs, I feel like that's useful. I know when late at night it gets kind of tricky, but I just feel better about going somewhere else than leading that person to know potentially where I live. That's just how I feel. Now you're obviously gonna maybe run into a scenario where you can't do any of that and it maybe is easier to just go home. Just get in as fast as you can. Sometimes I walk in the street, like that kind of helps, and then you're, you know, a little bit separated from where that person's on the sidewalk, and then you can either cross easily or just, you know, switch it up as soon as you can. It's like so annoying that you have to think these plans of actions. It's literally so annoying that that has to be a thing because people won't just let you be. This is just good to have in your mind. Now, if you're moving to an area and you want to find out if an area is good, I think apps like, I believe it's Hot Pads, where they, on all the apartment listings, it has information about the neighborhood, is helpful. But also if you can get to that area, go and look around. Something that was really great, because my moving in here was pretty quick. I generally knew this area. I didn't live in it before, but I knew around it, and I was like, it seems peaceful, it seems, you know, pretty calm, but there is some livelihood that goes on, but not in a negative way, just a good way, like bars, restaurants, etc. So I felt good about it. But I had only seen it in the day and it was like rainy out. So something that was really nice is that one of my friends actually went by my place before I moved in at night, and she's like, oh, I felt like it was a good area. She saw that there was restaurants and stuff. So she's like, there will be people out and about. You can ask the person that's showing you the place, but chances are I don't know that they'll be that truthful. I would be truthful if I was your real estate agent. But I would want that honesty as opposed to like, I just want you to move in, but you'll just never really know. And like I was saying before, everywhere could potentially be an issue because it's just more about the people in that area. If you can, see the area, see if people are just kind of hanging out doing nothing. And I think that that would really help you. So yeah, generally speaking, where I'm at, I enjoy it a lot. I think it's overall can be a really great place. But I have still had scenarios here, and they're enough that it's like, ooh, let me keep my eye out like even more. But generally speaking, I do feel like it is a good spot, but I would just never say that like one space is just like so safe. Happy with my place itself. Like, as you guys know, I feel like I'm always gushing on here, but I really do love it. But yeah, comment down below if you guys have any tips or tricks of what you do in these scenarios, things that help you. Or, you know, do you go to a store as well? Do you call someone? Do you have a friend's place nearby? All those kind of things that you can do to keep, you know, keep yourself safe. I just wanted to share this video. I thought it was kind of important because it's something that not many people really mention about, but the safety of being in your area or being in your neighborhood is definitely the most important. You don't want to just like, you know, always looking over your shoulder, but if you have some tips and tricks in your head of what you're going to do in that scenario, I think you can walk a little bit more confident, which is what, you know, the ultimate goal is. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.